Alright guys, so today's video is going to be on JLab's newest JBuds ANC3, and I'm not gonna lie, since I got the Epic Edition JLab earbuds, they really caught my attention with that pair. That's been my go-to pair, and it was something I did not expect from JLab. But the ANC3 kind of puts them back in a familiar territory because it's more of a budget pair of earbuds that you're supposed to get really good noise canceling from, because these come in retailing at $59, although as of right now when I'm shooting this video, you can pick them up for only $53. So we're gonna talk about a lot of the features that these have or what maybe they don't have, talk about the price, what all comes inside the box, and see how good of a value it is coming in at $59. Now, with me saying that it's going back to JLab being a budget pair of earbuds, another thing that it's gone back to is having the charging cable built into the case. So you don't have some external cable you have to keep up with. And I've seen this in my previous videos. There's some people that absolutely love this, and there's some people that hate this. But the charging cable on these is actually a USB-C cable on the other end. It's not a USB-A like we've seen in the previous earbuds. So that is something that is slightly different. And since this pair does not come with a charging cable, the only other things that it comes with is your usual small, medium, and large silicone ear tips. There is a feature in the manual though that you could reach out to them and they will send you a foam pair of ear tips if that's something that you prefer. And I think that's a nice touch. There are some people that prefer foam ear tips over silicone ear tips. I personally just like silicone ear tips, so I'm happy with the 3 that are included. Now, some of the features that are on this pair is it does have Bluetooth 5.2. It does allow multi-point connection, so you can connect to more than one device at a time. It is using 10mm dynamic drivers. Now, this is different than the Epic Edition earbuds that I've been using where it's using multiple drivers. But as far as the IP rating, if you're gonna use these outdoors, it actually comes in with an IP55 rating. So most earbuds, especially most inexpensive earbuds, only have slight water protection. And this pair actually, on top of that, has some slight dust protection. So if you're gonna use them outdoors in a dusty or dirty, or even the beach where it's just sand blowing around, this is a pair that actually can be somewhat protected against that. Now, as far as the battery life on this pair, this is another area where these are pretty interesting because on a single charge, you can get 9 hours on the earbuds and about 42 hours using the case. Now, if you are going to use the noise canceling mode, it is going to drop some of that battery life down quite a bit. And also another thing is this is a pair that works with JLab's app. Now, it does have the usual 3 different EQ modes that are already built into the earbuds, so you don't actually have to go into the app to be able to switch between the JLab signature sound or the balance sound or bass boost. You can also customize your own EQ settings once you do that in the app, and that will also allow you to switch between that on the earbud as well. And then also within the app, this is what allows you to keep the earbuds updated. This is what also allows you to switch it into a movie mode. It allows you to switch around some of your controls because out of the box, it did not allow me to have control over everything, but it was nice that I could go into the app, switch some things around, and get it to control all of the main functions that I needed. Your play, your pause, skipping your tracks forward, going backwards, your volume control, your EQ control, your smart noise canceling mode. There's like 3 different noise canceling modes, which is smart ANC, there's ANC off, and then there's a be aware mode, which is basically like a transparency mode. And speaking of these different modes, I would say that the noise canceling on this pair is actually pretty good, especially for its price range. Now, if you go into this expecting like Sony or Bose noise canceling, I can tell you you're gonna be disappointed here. But this pair does a really good job of blocking out like engine noises, AC units, anything that has that lower rumble. So if you're using these in a car or using these on a plane, it'll block all of that stuff out actually pretty well. But when it comes to people talking or the TV being on or anything that has like a higher frequency sound, it doesn't do a really good job of blocking that kind of stuff out. But the aware mode on here, I was very impressed with. I was really impressed with how natural my surroundings sounded. I was able to carry on a conversation without having to take the earbuds out. So that is actually a nice touch, especially when this pair doesn't have any kind of smart sensors. So it doesn't pause when you take the earbuds out, and it doesn't go back to what you were listening to once you put them back in. Now, as far as the design and the build quality of this pair, the weight of the case and the weight of the earbuds is very light, and in some cases it kind of feels cheap. But at $59 for a noise canceling pair of earbuds, you can't really expect them to have the heft of some of the more expensive ones. But these definitely have the usual look of JLab's case and earbuds. If you've seen JLab's earbuds in the past, these look very similar, so they do have kind of a theme that they like to stick to. Now, if you are going to use this pair for taking phone calls, I think it does a decent job here. I wouldn't say that this is the best mic that I've heard on a pair of earbuds, but I think for phone calls, it does a good job of picking up my voice, and I think it also does a pretty decent job of blocking out my surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
So here is the mic test using the JBuds ANC3. Just to give you an idea, I'm using it outdoors, so there's sounds of birds and all the other things going on around me. But this is just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call.
So now let's talk about the sound. And I want to say this right off the bat, that the JLab signature sound is definitely the way to go with this pair. It just has that typical Harman curve where the bass is boosted, the treble is boosted, so it has more of a dynamic sound. I think most consumers are going to be happy with this tuning. I do feel like the balance mode is just too dull. There's no life in the sound, and I know that's kind of the point, but it really just strips too much away from the sound. And I think the bass boost mode makes it a little too boomy, and it kind of takes away from your mids and treble a little bit. But I think the signature sound tuning comes in just right. It makes the bass where it has a nice tight punch. It does have a little bit of a boost in the sub bass, but it's not anything that's like overpowering. I felt like the mids, they kind of left these alone where they sounded basically where they needed to sound. They don't sound too up front, but they never get lost in any of the different genres that I switch between. Where other earbuds, if you listen to things like rock or metal or anything where there's a lot going on, sometimes it's very easy for your mids to get pushed back or just get buried where it's harder to hear vocalists or certain guitar instruments. So I think they did a really good job here. And the treble, they did a good job with boosting it, where it brings out just enough details without being bright or harsh. I think it balances out pretty well with the fact that the bass is not overpowering, it's not overly boomy, but it definitely has a lot of presence, and the treble is doing that same thing. It's not trying to do too much, but it is there to bring out everything you need to hear. So when it comes to the soundstage and the sound imaging, because it's not doing way too much on the boomy end or way too much to be overly bright, it allows these to sound actually fairly open. I mean, I felt like I was in a large size room, so it did a good job here. And I also had no issues with being able to tell where different sounds were coming from. So my overall opinion is this: if you're not looking for like all of the features in the world, because this isn't one of those pairs to do that, and you're looking for a pair that's going to give you really good noise canceling, some really good battery life that can last you all day, and still deliver when it comes to sound quality, I think JLab did a really good job here. Now, there is definitely some competitors in this price range. I've done a lot of videos on earbuds under 50 bucks. I still think the Donner DoBuds 1 is a really good competitor in this price range. So there's competition out there, but this is what JLab does best, staying in that budget realm and offering a lot for your money. So yeah, this is an easy pair to recommend. But this gives me another opportunity to say that the JLab Epic Edition earbuds have blown me away, and I'm gonna recommend them at any point that I possibly can. So I'm gonna link them in the description, as well as the JBuds ANC3, which we're checking out here. But guys, that wraps up this video. So thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.